Okay, so this is an Arduino. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's a microcontroller, which means that it's a very small thing that you can use to control things. But you can use it to control all different types of things. You can use it to control electricity, to control movement. And there's all these different little electrical parts that you can put in, and then you connect it to a computer. And then the computer has programs on it so that you can essentially make code to tell it what to do. So this is an example of making it into a thermostat. So Eric has tried this one, and he got it so that this will actually read the real temperature in the room.
Oh.
Yeah. We used to have a kit called Snap Circuits, which is really made for little kids. It's like electronics, but for kids that are just learning. This is real stuff. So Eric, this is just like a jumper wire, right?
Yeah.
So a jumper wire means that you're taking a circuit from one side to another if it didn't have any kind of thing to make it go from one side to another. It's just passing electricity through a tiny little wire. And then there's other things. Eric, where are the other components? So the breadboard is just, you can just put things in there, and depending on where you put it sort of in this puzzle, it'll do the things that you want it to do. So there's a bunch of other components in here. So this thing is called a motor.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, so it makes things move. It's like what you use for robotics probably, right? And these things are called resistors.
Oh,
You know what that is?
Yeah.
How did you learn about it?
Technology.
Oh, okay. Who was your technology teacher?
Well, it's this year, Miss Helzer.
Oh, good. Okay, so what do you think this? I don't have a good way of explaining it. Do you?
It's like a resistor is something that can either, like, the more resistance, the like let's say it's for a light, the more resistance, the dimmer the light will be, and the less resistance, the brighter it will be.
Right, okay, so that makes sense. So it's like electricity will pass through here.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like what it sounds like, right? If it meets a resistance, it's not going to let as much electricity go through it. So that makes perfect sense. There's also stuff in here called capacitors. There's a few different types of capacitors. And Eric, are these the...
What?
Which ones are the capacitors?
These?
Yeah. So capacitors give out a burst of electricity. They hold a charge and then they give out a burst of electricity. There's something interesting in here also about the resistors. I don't know if you learned this, but the resistors, you can tell how much resistance they have based on the stripes, the color of the stripes. So you can see that this one, for example, is 10 kiloohms, 10,000 ohms, and it's just because this is the code that tells you orange, black, yellow, gray does that. There's a whole bunch of stuff in here. These things are called diodes, so they light up, right?
Yeah.
You learned about that as well. So what do you do have you like made anything in technology?
Yeah, it's kind of like not as big as this, but it's like a circuit. It's kind of like the stuff, but like it let's just say it's kind of put together for you, and they're like instructions on how to make it. Yeah.
So what kinds of things did you try?
Like a light and a sound or something like that. Yeah.
I think we can do something like that here too. What are you working on, Eric?
Just making this thing work.
So this comes with computer programming language that's similar to C, right, Eric? It's not exactly the C programming language, but it's similar. It's basically something that just tells you what to do. Did you guys learn any programming yet?
No.
Okay. Programming looks really weird, but once you get the hang of it, you kind of know what sorts of programming commands there are. In almost any language, they're very similar. You can kind of read it and figure it out. So one classic example of code is an if-then statement. So if the temperature is 75, then turn on the air conditioner, right? Something like that. Or make this thing move. That's like the classic way to do programming. And you just have to like
Right.
define everything at first.
So we need to
this is
put
all
this somewhere.
Examples of stuff like that.
There.
So I think on here there are certain rows that are of like little pegs that are connected to each other, and some that are not. Right, Eric? So which ones are connected to each other?
So all of this,
Mm-hmm.
these are called rails, are
They are
connected to each other.
yeah.
And all of these rows are connected to each other. So
All right,
let's
yeah, I
say
got it.
we put
It's almost like it has a wire underneath it that you
yeah.
can't see.
let's just say this was connected up to a battery. This
Really?
side and that side. If we put it here and this over here, then that means we could take the electricity from the battery and
Yeah.
put it into any of the rows. So that's what we're gonna do with this. After I put in better pins.
What is this component called, Eric? Do you know?
Piezo capsule, but it's really just a speaker.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Okay, so hi everyone, we made this play Super Mario. So what it does is connects this piezo, which is like a speaker, up to your Arduino, and it's on pin 3.
You'll listen to it.
So
In this code, we make it so that pin 3 changes each time to a different note, so we can make it play Super Mario.